Mr. Kazembe, grade 7 teacher at Fountain School. So today in mathematics, we are still looking at plane shapes. Under plane shapes, today's lesson we are going to look at the circumference of the circle. The circumference of the circle. But before that, I want us to revise on the elements of the circle. We talked about the elements of the circle. So this is our circle. The circle has parts. These parts are what we call the elements. So we have the center there. The point there is called the center. We also have the line that starts from the outer part of the circle to the center there. This one is called a radius. We also have another line that cuts the circle into two equal parts, passing through the center there. This one is called the circumference. This one is called the diameter. Thank you. The diameter. And now, the outer circle, the outer part of the circle is what we are referring to as the circumference. So these are the elements of the circle, or the parts of the circle. Now, circumference by definition, we discussed to say it is the total distance around the circle. Now, when we are talking about plane shapes, the total distance around the circle, we call it perimeter. So sometimes circumference can be known as perimeter. We can refer to circumference as perimeter. Now, we calculate perimeter as the total distance around the circle. Now, in this case, we have the circle here, and how do we now calculate perimeter, or the total distance of the circle? Now, for us to find the total distance of the circle, we should now make use of the lines that are inside there, which we can measure. Therefore, we take advantage of this line, which is the diameter. Therefore, to calculate the circumference of the circle, we use the formula, which is circumference is equal to pi d, where pi is simply the ratio between the circumference and the diameter. So, no matter how big or small the circle is, we can calculate it using this formula. So you can take advantage of this line, which is the diameter, to find out the circumference, the total distance around the circle. And now, the pi is simply the ratio that is there between the circumference and the diameter, which is equal to the ratio between the circumference and the diameter is equal to 22 over 7, which, when you want to put it in decimal, it will give us 3.142. So this is what we call pi. So this is what we call pi. It is referred to as pi. It is written as pi, or the symbol pi there. So we are going to calculate circumference of the circle using this. Now, it is very easy for us to calculate the circumference of the circle just using this simple formula here. Where there is pi, we'll be putting either this fraction or this number in decimal. And where there is d, we'll be putting the diameter. But in other case, when you look at the radius there, the radius is half of the diameter. So sometimes they can give you the diameter, or sometimes they can give you the radius. But you can also calculate using either the diameter or the radius. So I'll slowly copy this formula here. Circumference is equal to pi d. This is where you've been given the diameter. Now, what of in the case where we are given the radius? In a case where we're given the radius, the formula is circumference is equal to. Now, when you look at this one, is equal to pi. I'll write pi there. We have two radius in one diameter. So pi times r plus r, which is 2 radius. Therefore, I'll have c is equal to pi, the 2 radius, I'll write a 2 there and put the pi there and write the r there, showing that we have 2 radius there. So the two formulas that we'll be using, it is this one and that one there. So let's look at one example to see if we can answer now using these two simple formulas. So I'll wrap this part. Okay, so the first example, we can be asked to find example 1. Find the circumference of the circle whose diameter is 5 centimeters. Now, when you look at this question, we have been given one thing, which is the diameter. The diameter has been given, which is 5 centimeters. Now, which formula are we going to use there? We are going to pick the formula that has the diameter there. So the formula that we're going to pick is circumference is equal to pi d. Circumference is equal to pi d. And where there is pi, I'll substitute with those two ratios which I mentioned. We have 22/7, or you can use 3.142. This represents pi. So where there is pi, we'll be putting these ratios, these figures there. So I'll start with the one that has a point, a decimal point there. So I'll say circumference is equal, where there is pi, I'll put this number here. I'll say 3.42 times, where there is d, I'll put the number that I've been given there. Okay, so like I said we are going to get 3.142. So we have 3.142 as our pi times d. On d, I'll put 5, like I mentioned, 5 centimeters. Then I just have now to do the multiplication here. I just have to multiply. So we multiply this. I'll do it from here. 3, when we multiply decimal numbers, we get rid of the points. We first ignore it. So you have 3, 1, 4, 2. 5 there. So 5 times 2. What are we getting? Okay, it's a 10. We are going to write a 0 and remember a 1 there. So what is 5 times 4? 5 times 4? Okay, so 5 times 4, it will give us a 20. Plus a 1 there, we have a 21. So I'll write a 1 and carry a 2 again. So 5 times 1, it will give me a 5. Plus a 2, it will be a 7. So I'll write a 7 there. So what is 5 times 3? 5 times 3, we are getting 15. 5 times 3, we are getting 15. We did not remember anything there. So I'll write the whole entire 15. Since there is no other number there that I'm going to multiply, I'll write the whole entire 15 here, and it will be like that. Now, there we should remember now to put now the point. When putting the point, we consider the number of decimal places that are there. So, here on this number, we have 2. We have 3 decimal places there. We have 1, 2, 3. So here, I'll move the point from where the 0 is. I'll move 3 steps coming to my left hand side. So I'll say 1, 2, 3. So my point has to come there. Okay. Therefore, circumference is equal to 15.71 centimeters. 710 centimeters. Now, here, for us, we can even do what? Round it off to the nearest whole number, so that it can look perfect. So I'll say circumference is equal to, if I round it off, we have 15 one number. When you look at this number, is bigger than 5. So I'll get a 1 from this number and put it to the next number there, 5. And then I'm going to have a 16. So I'll have 16 centimeters. That is now our final answer. That becomes our final answer. So this is how we calculate. When we are given the diameter, we use this formula. Now let's look at another example where we are given now the radius. Another example where we are now given the radius. Okay. Example 2. Okay. So example 2. Now we need to carefully look at the example. You read it through so that you understand which formula you are supposed to use. In this case, we have the example which is saying find the circumference of the circle with radius 7 centimeters. So you should know first what have you been given. And in this case, you've been given the radius, which is 7 centimeters. So when you look at now the example, which example are you supposed to use between this one and this one? Definitely we'll go for this one because it is the one that is having what? The radius. So I'll say circumference is equal to 2 pi r, where pi, I'll put that number, and r, I'll put what? Radius. So therefore, we'll say circumference is equal to 2 times, here, I can even go for this one. Let's try this one to see also if it works. 2 times 22 over 7 times 7. Okay. So in this case now, 2 times 22 over 7 times 7. When you are given a number that is a multiple of 7, then you are on an advantage. In a sense that you can divide this 7 into that number that you've been given. So, initially, what you're supposed to do here is you're supposed to multiply everything that is on top and then divide 7. But in this case, 7 can go into that 7 there. So 7 can go into 7 there. So I'll say 7 there, 1, and 7 there, I'll have a 1 there. So that I reduce for me to multiply this one without challenges or difficulties. So now I'll just multiply this direct. I'll say 2 times 22, and I'll have 44. 44 times 1, it will still give me 44 centimeters. So therefore, our circumference is 44 centimeters. Now, with the same, let's try now to use this one that has the decimals with the same question. So I'll say circumference is equal to 2 pi r, where circumference is equal to 2 times, where there is pi, I'll now use this one. I'll say 3.142 times, where there is r here, I'll put a 7 now, times 7. So I'll start by multiplying 2 times that number so that it can be easy for me. So I'll say circumference is equal to 2 times 3.142. This one we can work it out even here. So, like I said, we ignore the point. So it is 3.142 times 2, which is 2 times 2, I'll have 4. And 2 times 4, when you count, you're going to get 8. And 2 times 1, what you're going to have is a 2. And 2 times 3 is 15, is 6. So it's 2 times 3, it's going to give us 6. And now we don't have any other number there, so I'll just write a 6 there. So 2 times 3 is 6. And I have 6,284. Now, I should now put now the decimal point. I'm going to put the decimal point there. Starting from here, I'll count first the decimal places that are there. We have 1, 2, 3. So here I'll move the point from there at the end here, and I'll move 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. So the decimal point will come there. So I'll have 6.284. And now I'll multiply this number by 7. Right. So 7 times 4, we are having 28. So I'll write the 8 here and carry what? A 2. 7 times 8, we are having 56. Now 56 plus a 2, we are having 58. So I'll write the 8 there and carry a what? A 5. So what is now 7 times 2? 7 times 2, we are having 14. 14 plus 5, it is going to give us 19. So I'll write a 9 here and carry a 1 there. So now, finally, what is 7 times 6? 7 times 6, it is going to give us 42. 42 plus 1, it will give us 43. Okay. So now, we should now look at the decimal places that the number has, which we multiply. It has 1, 2, 3. So, for us to put a point here, I'll start from here and move 3 steps going to my left hand side. So I'll move 1, 2, 3 here. So I'll have 43.98. So Circumference is equals to 43.988, of which I can round off this number to the nearest whole number, where I'm going to have a 3 and here I have a 9, which is bigger than 5. So I'll get a 1 from a 9 and put it here. So therefore I'm going to have circumference is equals to 43 plus 1, I'll have a 44. 44 centimeters. So the same answer that is here, that's the same answer that we got here. So even if you use this one for pi or this one, the answer will still come out the same. So now, this is how you calculate circumference using these two methods, these two formulae. We use these two formulae to calculate this, the circumference of the circle. Just following step by step. But one thing you should consider is what you'll be given. Is it the radius or the diameter? Then you should know the formula that you're supposed to use there. Okay. Now, before I give you work, I want to also give you some of the formulas that you can use in case, or sometimes they can just ask you to find the radius. Sometimes they can ask you to find even the diameter itself. So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show you something where you can, in case you're given those things. Okay. So these are some of the formulas that you can use. So I've indicated. So for circumference, I have given you two formulas, which is circumference is equal to pi d, or circumference is equal to pi r, or for diameter, in case you've been asked to find the diameter, you can use this formula where you say diameter is equal to 2r, meaning the radius. You multiply the radius by 2. You can also use this formula where you have diameter is equal to circumference over the pi that you've been given. Or in case you've been given to find the radius, you can use this formula where you say radius is equal to diameter over 2. Or you can say radius is equal to circumference over 2 pi. These are some of the formulas that you can use. So the formulae for you to use are these: for circumference, for diameter, or for radius. Now, before I conclude, before I leave you, I need to give you work also for you to do. I need to give you the work for you to do for me. So I'm going to write the questions on the board and you're going to answer for me. Okay. Okay. So this is the work that you're going to do for me as exercise. So the first question is saying, find the circumference of a circle whose radius is 15 centimeters. The second question is saying, find the circumference of a circle whose diameter is 20 centimeters. And the last one, which is question 3, it is saying, find the circumference of the circle of the following circles. So we have 2. So A, it is this one, which has 100 centimeters. B, we have that circle, which has 2 centimeters. So you need to be very careful there for you to answer this question, because you need to identify these two parts there for you to answer, so that you know which formula to use there. Thank you very much. See you again next time.